Hey guys, okay, we are back on the record and just a second. We're probably only a few minutes behind. They are announcing the record and getting into their appearances, so my God,
Okay, we're ready for the jury. Thank you.
y'all. I had to reset up my whole thing. Okay, guys, we are on the record. They just came back. We're not even like 10 minutes behind. They're going to show the video of Sade's car when they get back rolling. So they're bringing in the jury. I'm going to reclaim some of our time.
Case in chief. State, are you prepared with your next witness?
Yes, the state calls Officer Derek Kolb.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
All right, I'm Officer Derek Kolb, Derek Kolb.
You a police officer with the City of Milwaukee Police Department?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been an officer?
Since August of 2023,
What district are you assigned to currently?
District 3.
Have you always been assigned to District 3?
Since the start of field training, yes.
What would be the geographical area that encompasses District 3?
It starts from the most northern part of Center Street, goes down to about St. Paul, Canal Street, and then various streets out west to about 106 to about 7th Street.
And you work patrol?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe your general daily duties?
Generally, we'll be patrolling around, taking calls for service, doing traffic stops, anything that dispatchers dispatch to on a daily basis. So any sort of calls that we need on.
The calls for service come from a dispatch center from the city, right?
Yes, sir.
Were you working on the morning of April 2nd, 2024?
Yes, sir.
Were you alone or did you have a partner?
I was with a partner that day.
What was your shift?
I was assigned to day shift, which is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Shortly after your shift began on April 2nd, 2024, were you and your partner dispatched to 2928 West Lisbon Avenue in the city and county of Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Yes, I was.
What was the nature of the call that you received?
We initially get a call for service from Milwaukee Fire calling us for a request MPD. Usually that results in us being told that we need to investigate a fire of some sorts.
Did you know what kind of fire this entailed when you were going there?
Yes, initially our CAD notes read that it was a vehicle fire.
Are you familiar with what's at the address of 2928 West Lisbon Avenue?
Yes, when I started there, it was an abandoned building and it continued to be until it was torn down.
Do you remember about when it was torn down?
It was approximately about 6 to 7 months ago, roughly.
Okay, after April 2nd, 2024.
Yes, sir.
Your partner that day was who?
His name is Miles Kowalik.
Mileskowalik for the record. When you were dispatched to that location and arrived in that location, were you and Officer Kowalik already there, or had the fire department already been there?
Milwaukee Fire Department had already been there and extinguished the fire prior to our arrival.
Did you speak to a member of the fire department?
Yes, I did.
Who?
I do not recall his specific name.
Okay, was he the captain that was on scene?
Captain Hoos was his name.
Hoos?
Yes.
Thank you. That conversation, I presume you just got basic information about what they encountered when they got there?
Yes.
Do you recall what that information was?
Essentially, we run down if the fire was suspicious or not suspicious, what essentially they first got there, what they observed, and essentially we just get a debrief of the situation before we do our investigation regarding the fire.
And what did they observe?
When they got there, they observed a blue Honda Civic engulfed in flames, which prior to our arrival, they put out before we got there.
Was there anything notable about the trunk that they had noticed when they got there?
When they got there, I do not recall, but when I arrived on scene, the trunk was ajar.
Was there any noticeable damage to any part of the vehicle that did not look to be from a fire?
Not to my knowledge, no.
You had a body camera, correct?
Yes, it was equipped and activated during this investigation.
And you also made contact with an individual who had called 911, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
She, at the time, was a resident of a house on North 29th Street, correct?
Yes, sir, just east of the location of where the vehicle was set on fire.
Do you recall what address?
I do not recall.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 190. What is this?
That is a aerial view of District 3, certain parts of streets being Galena to Lisbon Avenue.
Move 190 in and ask to publish.
Any objection?
No.
It's received and go ahead.
I've got Exhibit 190 on the TV screen now. Officer, at the top of the screen, there's an angled street, is that right?
Correct.
What street is that?
The angle street that runs west to east is called West Lisbon Avenue.
The street that runs north to south on the far left side, that's North 32nd Street.
Yes, sir.
And the map depicts as far east as North 29th Street, almost to North 28th Street. Fair enough.
Yes, sir.
Is the location where you found, or where you went to find this car on this map?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, would you allow the witness to point out where the car was?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so you're pointing to the building basically at the northeast corner of 30th and Lisbon.
Yes, sir. Just east of 30th.
All right, and that building that's in this map, that is no longer there.
No, it is not.
And was the car on the Lisbon side or the other side?
It would have been north of Lisbon Avenue, just east of 30th.
Behind the building at this corner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you go down 30th, this street here is what?
That would be Walnut.
This is Walnut Street, and then the one south of that is
West Galena.
West Galena. And then right in between Walnut and Galena is the 31st and Galena Playground.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can have a seat. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 51. Should come up on the screen momentarily. What are we looking at?
That was the blue Honda Civic that we got dispatched to for the vehicle fire.
I should have asked a better question. This is a body cam, right?
Yes,
Okay, whose body cam?
that would be my personal body camera.
Where I have this Exhibit 51 queued up, you're looking at the Honda Civic, right? And the street that would be beyond that building is what?
That would be West Lisbon Avenue.
So you're essentially facing south.
Yes, sir.
Is this your body cam from when you were there that day?
Yes, sir.
I'd move Exhibit 51 in and ask to publish about 2.5 minutes of it.
No objection.
It's received and go ahead.
Sorry, 3.5. When I start playing this video, there's not going to be audio, correct?
No.
Why is that?
For the first 30 seconds, when we turn on our Axon body cameras, it goes back about approximately 30 seconds to where no audio is recorded during it, just how our Axon equipped cameras are run in our Milwaukee Police Department.
You hit record, but your camera actually picks up 30 seconds prior.
Exactly.
All right, thanks. Paused at 110. That first portion of the video, what were you doing?
Essentially looking over the vehicle, just seeing what kind of fire damage is done to the vehicle. And then initially when I looked at the front plane of glass for the front window, that's initially where I first checked vehicles for their VIN number. And then the second time when I went to the inside of the door panel is where I checked for the second pin, the VIN number. The first one is destroyed in the vehicle fire, so I got the VIN number off of the door.
The purpose of getting that information is what?
Typically, and sometimes with the Milwaukee Police Department, some vehicles have license plates that do not match the vehicle that it has on it. So I always double check and write down the VIN number of the vehicle and the license plate as well, just to make sure that they match if I run the license plate or if I run the VIN.
You did that in this instance?
Yes, sir.
And then did you run that information to try to figure out who the vehicle belonged to?
I did.
And who did the vehicle belong to?
We run it through a certification called E-Time, which is a Department of Transportation check. And when I ran the license plate and the VIN of this motor vehicle, it listed to Sade Robinson.
Did the VIN and the license plate match?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Playing at 110. Paused at 152. The last few seconds here, you seem to be checking the engine compartment fare.
Yes.
And on the left side of the screen where my mouse is circling here would be the front passenger rear view mirror, correct?
Yes.
And the condition of it right now at this point is what?
It's damaged.
Hanging down,
Yes.
playing at 152. Paused at 225. The front hood of the car, there's a cut straight across, correct?
Yes.
The hood is cut open.
Yes.
Okay. Is that something the fire department does?
Yes.
Playing at 225.
Super weird because that engine still looks like it's in pristine condition. So. Huh? It didn't even look like, I mean that in the sense of like the fire didn't even touch the engine or any part of the front of the vehicle.
Paused at 318. At this point in the video, you're looking into the trunk.
Yes.
This item that I'm pointing out with my mouse here looks like what?
Like a bag of some sorts.
This black item here?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the first time either of you had looked into the trunk, fair?
Initially, I was the only officer between us two that had looked over the vehicle, looked and inspected it, and just made sure that everything was inside the vehicle or if any personal identifiers were in it.
Understood. Playing at 318. paused it at 3:32. That last clip of you standing at the driver's side of the vehicle, how would you describe the interior of the vehicle?
Completely destroyed, essentially set on fire, complete fire damage of the interior of the vehicle.
The frame that I have on the screen right now from your body cam, it looks like there's a lot of trash. Do you see that?
Yes,
Do you know this location? Is that abnormal for behind this building?
not at all.
Okay. Is this building, as it was abandoned at the time, was it kind of a dumping ground?
It could be used as a dumping ground, yes.
And where your squad is parked here, that's the alley. That's not a street, right?
That is an alleyway.
This street over here to the left, that would be North 30th Street then.
Yes, it would be.
So to get here, you pulled into this alleyway right off of North 30th.
Yes.
The 911 caller, did you make contact with that person?
I did.
Did they indicate whether, or
Objection here.
That was
I was gonna
somewhat
make
of
a, I was gonna make a hearsay objection, but he stopped his question.
okay.
did you did talk to the 911 caller?
I did.
Did you canvass the neighborhood?
I did.
And did you look for video cameras from houses or anywhere that might depict the area behind that abandoned building?
Anywhere in the immediate area that could have potentially caught this vehicle driving into the alleyway or behind the abandoned house.
That's what you were looking for.
Yep.
Were you able to find anybody when you were on scene here from those houses who had seen what happened?
My immediate canvas, not a single individual saw what happened, and nor did I find any camera footage around that immediate area north of it.
Okay, so you say north of it, you're looking, you mean north of Lisbon, fair?
Yes.
And are you aware of any camera footage that captures right behind that abandoned building at the time?
Not at that moment, no.
After you arrived, did you have other members of your department come out to tow the vehicle from that location?
I do not recall if we had another squad or if it was us that waited for the tow to arrive on scene.
So there was a tow that arrived on scene, fair?
Eventually, yes, that vehicle was towed from that location.
Where do you, what's the process for that? Where does it get towed to?
We call the city tow lot, and then essentially we wait for a tow to arrive. We get a tow number that's associated with the vehicle, and then if it's a safekeeping tow, it'll be kept at the city tow lot in a specific lot separate from evidence tows.
Did you at some point become aware on April 2nd of a leg that was found at Warnemont Park?
Yes,
Did you become aware that day or at a subsequent time?
subsequent time.
Okay. And you're aware that that leg was found on the evening of April 2nd?
I do not recall what time that was recovered.
But this time, the time you went out to this burning car, I think it's on your body cam up here at the upper right, we're at 8:22 a.m. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Cross?
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, officer. So you testified that you were dispatched to this 2928 West Lisbon Avenue for a vehicle fire, correct?
Yes.
And had you ever been dispatched to vehicle fires in that area before?
No.
Okay, so, but this area that you described, you said that there's a lot of trash around there, correct?
Yes, there is.
And I mean, I guess we can kind of look at the video here on this frame. It looks like there's some residential homes, correct?
Just north of it, yes.
Are you familiar with this area through your, responding to calls for service?
Yes.
And I mean, have you responded to calls for service about potential drug dealing?
Objection relevance?
What's the relevance?
I'm just trying to set the scene of where this all occurred, the part of the city. I mean, the state on direct examination was talking about how it's a high crime area.
I don't recall that happening.
Or the trash, I suppose. I mean, if I can just move on.
Okay,
Littering's
please
a
move on.
crime.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Move on.
All right, but when you arrived after the fire had already been extinguished, correct?
Yes.
And you had mentioned that the trunk of the vehicle was ajar, right?
Yes, it was.
And it was in that condition when you arrived?
Can you rephrase that?
The trunk was ajar when you arrived, correct?
Yes,
And I guess we saw on body camera, it shows that you know, approaching the car and it looks like you're what, writing down the VIN number?
that's what I initially did, yes.
Okay, and did you touch the vehicle whatsoever? Did you like touch anything in the interior or in the trunk?
Nothing in the interior, nothing in the interior of the trunk, and nothing from the exterior. When I opened the trunk, I do not recall if I put my direct hand on it or if I used my sleeve.
Okay. And you indicated that there was minor damage to the exterior of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, I did.
But it didn't appear that there was any fire damage on the exterior of the vehicle. It looks like it was more just interior, correct?
I knew there was interior damage. I do not know the extent of the exterior of it, if it was fire damage or if it was damage done prior to the vehicle being there.
What I meant was the exterior of the vehicle, there wasn't like char marks on the exterior.
I do not recall if there was or not.
It appears that the fire damage is all the interior front seat and into the back seat, correct?
There was fire damage in the interior and the rear and the trunk.
And the trunk, but we could see on the body camera that there was still some belongings that didn't look like they were charred or burnt.
No,
And after you are looking at this vehicle, you said you canvassed the area, correct?
I did.
And what did that entail? Did you go to homes around the area?
Any houses around the area that could have potentially caught this incident on a camera or any sort of video footage?
And you weren't able to locate any video footage that captured the fire?
No,
And so you weren't able to identify any suspects that were captured on video, correct?
nothing on the canvas that I conducted that day.
I have nothing further.
State.
Nothing else.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
State.
State calls Detective Alexis Crusk.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Alexis, Alexis, Crusk, Krusic.
How are you employed?
With the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office.
What's your position there?
Detective,
How long have you been a detective?
over 9 years.
Prior to that, what was your rank?
Patrol deputy,
Are you assigned to any specific position within the sheriff's department?
I am a federally deputized task force officer with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and I'm on the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office Bomb Squad as a bomb technician.
What does it mean to be a TFO with the ATF?
I assist with federal cases ranging between firearms trafficking and arson cases.
And you have federal jurisdictions as well, correct?
Yes,
How long have you been on that assignment?
since March of 2020.
So you were working in that capacity in April of 2024?
Yes,
Did you come into contact with a 2020 blue Honda Civic in April of 2024?
yes, April 5th.
April 5th?
Mhm.
In what capacity?
It was originally involved in a fire, now determined to be an arson. It was towed back to the Milwaukee Police Department tow lot, the City of Milwaukee tow lot, pending processing.
Was there a license plate associated with that?
There was,
What was that?
it was Wisconsin Adam Sam Paul 1711, I believe it is.
Would 1171 sound familiar?
1171.
Are you aware of who that vehicle registered to?
It listed to Sade Robinson.
At that point, you were aware that Sade Robinson was deceased, correct?
I believe at that time it was still a missing person.
Okay. Who were you with at the tow lot as it relates to your investigation surrounding this vehicle?
Milwaukee Police Department personnel, I believe it was Detective Amy Stolowski, ATF Certified Fire Investigator Ricky Hankins, and Milwaukee Police Department Bomb Technician Commander Adam Islub,
And what was your purpose in being there?
assisting with the search of the vehicle.
I missed the last name, the bomb tech, Adam.
Islub.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, the crime lab was also present, 2 individuals,
What was the crime lab there for?
to assist with evidence collection.
Such as? Such as
Collecting
what?
DNA swabs, they collected the items out of the vehicle, packaged them, and then they were turned over to me at the end of the day.
And you watched that happen?
Yes,
Did you observe the Honda Civic in its initial state at the tow lot before any searching began?
yes,
And prior to your search of the car, and when I'm saying your search, I mean you and the other personnel that were there that day, did you have any information about whether or not someone else had searched the car on an earlier date?
no,
So you were the first search of this vehicle?
yes.
Okay. Can you describe the vehicle as you initially observed it?
It had heavy fire damage to it in all areas. The trunk was still pretty intact as far as vehicle condition.
Were you able to readily identify anything in the vehicle?
There was a blanket that could be seen on the back seat, as well as a brown and black purse that was on the floor behind the front driver's seat.
That's as to the passenger compartment. Would you say that the passenger compartment was the part that sustained the heaviest fire damage?
Yes.
What about the hood and engine area?
The hood had been cut, most likely by the fire department.
Can you describe the trunk?
The trunk was still in pretty pristine condition. There was a lot of standing water still, though, in the trunk of the vehicle.
Were you able to locate any items that were ultimately collected and placed on inventory from the trunk?
From the trunk, there was a black puffy style jacket. There were light ripped jeans, like light washed ripped jeans, white tennis shoes, and tan underwear.
The underwear, was that contained on or within something?
It was on the outside of the light wash jeans.
The bag or purse that you described, was that also recovered?
It was, but not in the trunk.
Did you find any keys?
No.
Did you find any cell phones?
We found remnants of the phone camera, the steel that's on the back of an iPhone that shows the 3 circles for your camera. We were able to locate that in melted debris via X-ray.
Sorry, can you repeat the last portion of what you said?
It was located in melted debris inside of the vehicle that we were able to locate by using an X-ray system.
Thank you. Did you find any weapons?
No.
Would weapons in theory be detected through an X-ray system?
Yes,
Were photographs taken?
they were.
I'm not going to object to the introduction of any of these photos. It's all car photos.
Thank you. I'm showing you what's in Merck Exhibits 58 through 89. If you could just look through those and let me know what they are.
One at a time.
If you can just collectively look at them, identify them, and then we'll go through one by one.
These are photos that I took during the vehicle processing.
I'd ask that exhibits 58 through 89.
They are received and you may publish.
Showing you exhibit 58. What is that?
That is the front of the 2020 Honda Civic.
Okay, and again, this is at the tow lot, correct?
It is.
Exhibit 59.
It's the passenger side view of the Honda Civic.
Can you see fire damage to the exterior of this car?
You can.
Can you describe where?
On the front or on the top portion of the vehicle doors.
Exhibit number 60, what is that?
The passenger rear corner overall of the Honda Civic.
Exhibit 61.
It's a front driver's side corner overall view of the Honda Civic.
Did it appear to you that there was at least some sort of front end damage to that vehicle?
Yes.
Exhibit 62, what's that?
That is an overall view of the driver's side rear back seat, showing the fleece blanket.
Okay, so the green and blue item here, this is a blanket.
Yes.
What is the yellow material there?
I believe that's part of the seat cushion.
Exhibit number 63.
It's an overall of the trunk view.
And I'm just going to have you step down off the stand and approach that. And if you could show us where, you said there was a jacket that was recovered, correct? Okay, and that was a black. What else can you see in that photo that you recovered?
Can you bring the microphone as far over as you can as well? Thank you.
I believe the jeans were underneath the jacket in this.
Okay. What about exhibit 64? Can you describe what's depicted in that photo?
The winter jacket.
Can you point to that? What else is, just in general, if you can recall, what else was in there? There are lots of things in that photo.
There's a shovel here. That was in the trunk of the vehicle.
What about that item that I'm pointing to here? What does that appear to be?
A windshield wiper.
Actually, what about this item here?
Oh, that is a bed sheet.
And did you recover that?
I did.
How about exhibit 65?
I believe this is a photo behind the front driver's seat, and the purse was in the lower area here.
Showing you exhibit 66. What is that?
It's a black and brown purse that was located behind the front driver's seat on the floor.
Were there items that were contained in that purse that you were able to recover?
Yes.
Such as?
There was a laptop, an iPad, and some miscellaneous items. I believe there's another photo.
Showing you exhibit number 67.
Yeah, those were some of the contents from inside of the bag.
Exhibit 68.
Additional items from inside of the bag.
Do you know what these items are?
I believe there's going to be another photo. This is paperwork with Sade Robinson's name on it.
Showing you exhibit 69. Is that the paperwork?
It's a closer view, yes.
Exhibit number 70.
This was an apron that was located inside of the trunk with Sade's name tag on it from the Wisconsin Club.
It looks like there's some cash, like loose bills of US currency,
Yes.
but Exhibit 71.
These were all of the items from that purse, all laid out.
Okay, can you describe some of the other items there?
Let's see. So there's 2 notebooks, a comb, there's 2 photos, like Polaroid photos, miscellaneous paperwork, a planner over here, and a phone charging block.
Looks like some pencils and markers too.
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked Exhibit number 72. What is that?
That is an overall of the front driver's seat.
Exhibit 73.
This is a measurement that we took from the gas pedal of the vehicle to the front seat of the driver's seat.
Okay, and why did you do that?
To show the distance, because it seemed awfully far for an individual of her stature.
Okay, so at this point, you were familiar with who Sade Robinson was, correct?
Yes.
Including some of her demographic information, such as height. Were you familiar with what she looked like?
Not before the search. No.
Okay. Showing you Exhibit number 74. What is that?
These are clothing items that were recovered from the trunk of the vehicle.
Okay, describe what we're looking at here.
There's a black, that outer winter puffy style jacket, light ripped jeans, tan underwear, and 2 pair of white tennis shoes.
The one tennis shoe is burned.
Yes.
The jeans and underwear, were they like that when you recovered them?
Yes.
So you did not place them like that?
No.
Is there anything upon looking at that that strikes you as unusual?
I think looking at how these were recovered, it could be consistent with somebody assisting in the removal.
How about Exhibit number 75?
Those are a close-up of the white tennis shoes that were recovered from the trunk.
Exhibit 76?
A closer image of the light wash jeans and the underwear.
77?
A closer image of the black winter style jacket.
What is 78?
This is an overall of the interior components that were removed from the car.
From what part of the car?
All of the interior of the car.
So not the trunk, the passenger compartment?
Yes.
And was one of those items depicted in Exhibit 79?
Yes, this was recovered in melted debris that we had to pry out of.
Okay, and what is that?
We believe that is the rear part of a phone where your camera is. It's the 3 camera spots on iPhones.
And you're
Consistent with an iPhone
Okay.
15.
And you're familiar with that?
Yes.
But Exhibit number 80?
That is an overall of the front passenger compartment.
And I should ask, that's the only part of a phone that you recovered in the car that was identifiable as something on a phone?
Correct.
Exhibit number 81?
So this is an item that is a stuffed animal of some sort that had an odor of gasoline on it. That was on the floorboard on the passenger side of the vehicle.
And you recovered that item?
Yes,
Why?
because it had an odor of gasoline.
Exhibit number 82?
That is an overall of the front damage on the Honda Civic.
And that doesn't appear to be fire damage, does it?
No.
Exhibit number 83?
Another overall of the damage on the front passenger quarter panel of the vehicle.
Exhibit 84?
That's a close-up of the driver's side quarter panel showing the damage on the Honda Civic.
Exhibit number 85?
That is passenger side damage to the mirror, a close-up.
Exhibit number 86.
This is another image of the measurement that we took.
So driver's side again.
Driver's side seat, yep.
Are you aware of whether or not other measurements were also taken
I
at a
believe-
later time?
Yes, there was, not by me, but there were.
Exhibit number 87.
Close-up of the measurement.
And what was the measurement, if you know?
I do not recall off the top of my head.
Exhibit 88.
And this was the measurement from the brake pedal to the front driver's seat.
And are you able to say what that was? Are you able to see?
I don't know if that's 19 inches, but
And exhibit number 89.
okay, it shows 1 feet, 20 inches for the measurement.
You can have a seat. At some point during your investigation, your portion of this investigation, the car search, were you made aware of what Sade Robinson was last seen wearing?
Yes, once I recovered the clothing, I had reached out to see what she was last seen wearing.
And what did you receive in response?
I received a still image of Sade. She was walking on a boardwalk by herself, and she was wearing light wash, ripped jeans, white tennis shoes, and a black jacket, from what I could see.
I'm showing you what's been marked exhibit 240. You can identify what that is.
This is the image that I was sent.
I'd ask that 240 be received in public.
Any objection?
No.
240s received, go ahead.
Do the jeans that Sade is wearing in that photograph appear to be the jeans that you recovered?
They do.
And what about the coat?
Also appears to be the same.
And what about her shoes?
They appear to be the same.
And what about the bag?
From what you can see in the photo, it resembles a dark style bag, but yes.
Did you recover any white tops, shirts or sweaters?
No.
The DNA, the crime lab individuals who were taking DNA swabs, did you see them taking swabs of areas like the door handles?
Yes, they did.
All right, the items that you described that we've seen photos of, those were placed on inventory, correct?
They were.
And inventory is what? Just
Property with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office.
showing you what's been showing you what's been marked. Exhibit number 52. Can you identify what this is?
This is the stuffed animal that had the odor of the accelerant from the front passenger floorboard of the Honda Civic.
So that's what's contained in that bag, correct?
Yes,
Is it contained in something?
a paint can.
Okay. What condition is that in?
It had been to the crime lab already.
Okay. I'm asking that exhibit 52 be received.
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
Showing you what's been marked exhibit number 57. What is that?
This is the brown and black purse, partially burned from the rear driver's side floorboard.
And that's already been open, correct?
It has.
You opened that earlier today.
I did.
Can you pull out what's in that?
This is the purse that was recovered.
I'd ask that exhibit 57 be received.
Any objection?
No.
57's received.
Showing you exhibit number 54. What is that?
These are the light wash ripped jeans with the tan underwear that were recovered from the trunk.
I'd ask that exhibit 54 be received,
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
and I'd ask you to just take out the jeans. Thank you. Showing you what's been marked exhibit number 53. What is that?
This is the black puffy jacket from the trunk of the Honda Civic.
And could you open that up and show us what it contains? Thank you. Showing you exhibit 55. What is that?
These are the white Bob sneakers with burn damage recovered from the trunk.
Could you open that and take the shoes out for us?
Do you want scissors?
Probably.
Makes sense.
Did I move in exhibit number 55?
No.
Okay,
No.
move in exhibit 55.
Any objection?
No,
It's received 53 too.
I'd move in exhibit 53.
I don't object to that either.
You're not objecting?
No.
It's received as well.
Showing you what's been marked exhibit 56. What is that?
This is the white-ish yellow bed sheet, partially burned, that was recovered from the trunk.
I'd ask for exhibit 56 to be received.
I don't object.
It's received.
And could you open that, please?
Got it all the way open?
No, that's okay. That was found in the trunk. You showed us where it was, right?
It was.
Okay, thank you. You testified that you didn't find any sort of top, a shirt or a sweater Did you find a bra?
No,
Are you aware of whether or not the DNA swabs that you testified the crime lab was taking, that those were ultimately taken to the crime lab?
they were, but not by me.
I don't have anything further.
Cross?
So you were involved in other things in this case, but primarily a search of the car, right?
Correct.
And and this looks like a pretty thorough search, you were going through the trunk and the main area of the vehicle, right?
Yes.
Were there any identifiers for Maxwell Anderson in that car?
No.
Any ID cards or anything like that?
No.
There was obviously some clothing in the trunk area that you've testified to that belonged to Miss Robinson, obviously, right?
Correct.
And some measurements were done. You were present for that.
Yes.
Now, did you go to the scene of, excuse me, were you present at the scene of the burning car or no?
No.
Your investigation was done once the car had been towed back to a lot, right?
Correct.
Or maybe a building that you use.
Yes.
And do you know whether the fire department, well, by the time you got the vehicle, the fire department had already been in the car and hosed it down and opened the doors and things like that, right?
I can't speak to what they've done, but there was clear water inside the vehicle.
I mean, clearly they had put out the fire and cut open the hood and things like
Yes.
that, right? And in terms of the seat distance from how far forward or how far back it is, do you know whether the fire department moved it forward or backward as they're putting out the fire?
No, I'm not sure.
All you know is those measurements are what they are for when you have the vehicle at the lot, right?
Yes.
DNA swabs were done really throughout the vehicle, isn't that fair to say?
I
On
believe
various-
it was just the exterior.
The exterior driver's front door handle, right?
Yes.
So meaning that door handle that a driver would use to get in or out of the car was swabbed extensively.
Yes.
And exterior driver rear door handle, that was also swabbed.
Yes.
Trunk latch.
Yes.
What's a trunk latch?
How you open up the trunk of a vehicle?
Okay, so for this particular vehicle, is there a button in the back of the trunk that you would have pushed and it would have opened?
I don't recall.
Okay, it's something that a person would have to touch to open up the trunk though,
Yes.
and that was swabbed.
Yes.
And exterior passenger rear door handle,
That was done.
exterior passenger front door handle.
Yes.
So all of those things are swabbed for DNA correct?
Yes.
And I think you just said you didn't send any of it to the lab for testing. That was somebody else's responsibility.
Correct.
You said the stuffed animal that we've talked about had an odor of gasoline on it.
Yes.
Are you a bomb technician?
I am.
Okay, what's a bomb technician?
I respond to calls of suspicious items. I respond if there's a potential for a device, anything having to do with military ordnance.
Got it. And so when you say gasoline, you're using that phrase, are you using that in just the ordinary smell of gasoline is what you mean, right? Like anybody would smell at a gas station is what you were smelling, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
State, were things still wet inside the car?
Yes, things had to be taken out of their original packaging and hung up to dry.
Nothing further.
Defense?
No.
Thank you. Anybody need a break at this time? No? Okay. Next witness, state.
Special Agent Ricky Hankins. Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Ricky Hankins, Hankins.
How are you employed, sir?
I am a special agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, also known as ATF.
How long have you worked in law enforcement?
I have worked for ATF since April 2001.
And what is your, are you a certified fire investigator?
I am.
What is that?
A certified fire investigator means that I have received specialized training in order to investigate fire origin and cause.
Can you just summarize what that is, the training?
The training for ATF was a 2-year immersion program where I had to take graduate courses from the University of Maryland. I had to investigate a minimum of 100 fire scenes under the mentorship of more senior ATF CFIs. I had to do a research project. I had to do reading reports. At the end of it, I had to take written tests. And I'm also an International Association of Arson Investigators, CFI, through their process as well.
How long have you been a CFI?
I have been an ATF CFI since 2009.
Back on or about April 5th, 2024, were you asked to assist in the search and processing of a 2020 Honda Civic?
Correct.
Where did that occur?
That occurred at 3811 West Lincoln, the secure impound lot for the Milwaukee Police Department.
Among the people present for that was yourself as well as Detective Alexis Crusk, who just left this room, correct?
That is right.
And then there were additional personnel present from the Milwaukee Police Department as well as the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. Is that correct?
That is correct.
After doing that search, were you tasked with conducting an origin and cause determination?
I was.
What is the purpose of an origin and cause determination?
An origin and cause investigation starts with determining where a fire starts. The purpose of an origin and cause investigation is to determine where a fire starts and how it started, to determine if it's an accident, if possible, or an intentional act. Sometimes we can't tell the difference and we have to leave a fire undetermined.
In this case, after you conducted that search with those other people, were you able to come to a conclusion as to origin and cause of this fire?
Yes.
Can you tell us basically the process? Take us through it.
In order to get to the final conclusion, the first thing we look at is origin. And to put it simply, when you're looking for the origin of the fire, we're looking at materials or locations that do not look like their immediate surroundings. So mass loss is different. So things are just burned away and there's not as much left of an area as its immediate surroundings. So there's mass loss, there's discoloration, all right? There's deposit, there's deformation, melting, warping. When we see areas like that, we explore those areas as potential areas of origin, keeping in mind that the greatest area of fire damage or greatest area of mass loss doesn't always mean origin. Sometimes that mass loss is caused by ventilation. So if ventilation comes in an area, that can cause more mass loss. So we explore first origin. Once we're comfortable with where a fire starts, then we look for what are the first fuels, what's capable of burning in that area, and what are our heat sources. Are there any accidental potential heat sources that could have come in contact with our fuel load? Are they capable of igniting what's in that area? Once we explore that and we test that with prior knowledge, sometimes we have to do fire research testing at our lab out in Maryland. We have a large warehouse that sometimes we have to rebuild complete structures and test fire to see which of our hypothesis might be correct. If we are able to come to a hypothesis that withstands all scrutiny and only one hypothesis remains, then we draw a conclusion.
Does this involve an assessment of the exterior damage as well as to the interior damage of the vehicle?
That's correct.
Can you tell us what you noticed when you did an exterior assessment?
Of the 2020 Honda Civic, there was oxidation to the sunroof area, and there was also oxidation to the exterior passenger side doors.
What is that?
Oxidation is discoloration. So one of those things I was telling you that we're looking for is the discoloration. So there's a whitening or a peeling of the exterior paint from those doors.
I'm going to put on the screen here for you Exhibit 60. Doesn't matter what the You're talking about this discoloration right around here?
That is correct.
Let's talk about the interior damage assessment. What did you observe?
When we're looking at the interior of the Honda Civic, we looked first at the engine compartment, and then we looked at the trunk. The interior of those compartments, the engine compartment, there was no indication of direct flame damage. There was no fire damage indicating that the fire started in the engine compartment. Same with the trunk. There was a little bit of mass loss or flame damage to contents of the trunk that were immediately adjacent to the back seat. Well, that's because the back seat had burned away from a fire from the passenger compartment and had extended a limited extension into the trunk.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Looking at the passenger compartment, so the front seats, the back seats, we had heavy mass loss to contents as well as the seating, both the backrests, and there's more survivability to the seat cushion, but the backrests for the two front bucket seats and the backrests for the rear seat were uniformly consumed. And so it was very clear that the fire had originated inside the passenger compartment.
All right, and for the record, while you were talking, I put up Exhibit 62, which has already been admitted. That would be an image of the interior compartment, correct?
Correct.
What can you tell us about the windows?
When I examined the windows, I had a lot of window remnants deep inside the window wells, indicative of the windows being at least partially open during the fire event.
Let's talk about excavation. What happened? What did you notice through that?
So like I said before, when we determined origin, and that being the passenger compartment, we started excavating, looking for what are our fuel loads. The back seat, I remember seeing a fleece blanket, which I believe we see here in this photograph. There were remnants of cardboard, remnants of paper material. I do recall, I believe, a purse in the back seat. There was also remnants of a Bic lighter, I recall seeing in the back seat. And as we excavated further now into the front of the passenger compartment, I reached the area of the floorboard on the front passenger side. So front passenger bucket seat, right at foot level. During excavation, I located what appeared to be remnants of a stuffed animal, green in color, at least majority of it green, that had survived. And as soon as I turned it over, I was overwhelmed by an odor consistent with the possible presence of a petroleum distillate. It smelled like, sometimes we can't tell what it is, but it could be gasoline, it could be lighter fluid, it could be any kind of petroleum distillate. But whatever this stuffed animal was appeared to have been saturated with it because it had weight to it. And it was an overwhelming odor that I experienced.
Are you able to say, when you were in that front passenger compartment, whether or not the seats would have been able to be moved after the fire was extinguished?
No, they were not.
How could you tell?
When fire occurs and is extinguished, it creates what's called protective patterns. So pretend that there's a fire up here at the desk that I'm sitting at, and this is more of a solid, not a light combustible. If this is in place at the time of the fire, and the fire department puts out the fire, and we move this after the fact, this is called a protected area underneath this item, right? So just like that example, if something is moved, a seat, for example, after the fight or after the fire, after the extinguishment, you would see a protected area or a dischargement or unalignment of the fire debris.
Going back to that odor of petroleum distillate, are you able to tell us what some examples of petroleum distillates are?
Oh, gasoline, diesel, lighter fluid, solvents, paint thinners.
Thank you. You participated in the, actually, before I go there, that item that you sensed that odor from was collected by the sheriff's office?
That's right.
You participated as well in the x-ray of the vehicle?
I did.
Did you observe any remnants of weapons or keys?
We did not.
What was the weather like on the day of the fire?
I believe it was light rain.
And is that something you would take into account during your analysis?
The weather in general, yes.
Okay. So to recap, go from front to back. The engine compartment of the trunk was not fire damaged.
Correct.
You could rule that out as the origin location.
That's accurate.
The trunk you also ruled out. How so?
Looking at the trunk, there was survivability, no direct flame damage to the majority of the trunk. We located remnants, if I recall correctly, bed sheet, female clothing in the back or in the trunk. No flame damage to those contents. If a fire originates in the trunk, there's going to be flame damage.
If the trunk is closed at the time of the fire, that would be an impediment because of lack of oxygen, correct?
Objection leading.
Why would the trunk being opened or closed matter about the fire's ability to spread in the trunk?
In order to have combustion, in order to have fire, you need three things: oxygen, fuel, fuel, and a heat source. All right. So if you take away oxygen, there won't be fire. There won't be combustion.
Within the passenger compartment of the vehicle, while the window's down, there clearly would have been oxygen then, right?
That's correct.
Are you aware of, actually to finish up where I was going then, so that leaves us with the passenger compartment. Were you able to conclude that's where the fire started?
Yes.
All right, and just summarize how.
Based on the direct flame damage, the mass loss to the contents, as well as the seat cushions, was indicative of a fire coming from that area, originating in that area.
And are you able to come to a conclusion based on your examination, training, and experience as to how the fire started?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what your conclusion is and how you come to that conclusion?
Based on three main bullet points or data points, one being the presence of ignitable liquid, because at the time of my rendering of my report, I received a lab report from the Wisconsin State Crime Lab indicating a medium petroleum distillate was found in the stuffed animal debris. Witness statements is also something we take into consideration when we're determining origin and cause, and a witness statement was reported that they had seen an individual walking away from the 2020 Honda Civic after throwing what the witness claimed appeared to be a lit lighter into the driver window. And then the third final bullet point that was important for consideration was the registered owner had been determined to be deceased and not the driver of the vehicle at the time of the fire.
Are you able to give us any information as to how fast a fire started in that manner could spread in a car like that?
Quickly, ignitable liquid accelerates fires.
I have no other questions.
Okay, so to back up a little bit. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just to back up a little bit, I think what you were saying towards the end is that before you even begin your examination of the vehicle, you read witness statements and do a try to learn a little bit about the circumstances. Would that be fair to say?
Not always before we do an examination of the vehicle. I believe I'm not sure when I learned of that witness statement. That would have been after the scene exam.
Okay, you prepared an opinion and cause report though, right?
Origin and cause, correct?
Origin and cause report, right?
Correct.
And you drafted that report, and it has sections such as synopsis, narrative, and participants, right?
Correct.
And there's a section in there specifically entitled witness statements, right?
That's correct.
And that's because of what people say is important to know,
Correct.
as well as doing your own independent examination, because sometimes what people say is different than what actually happened.
Sometimes.
It's part of the reason why you go in and do an examination, is to try to see if that version makes sense, for example, right?
We compare witness statements to physical evidence all the time.
And that's what you did here, right?
Yes.
Now, the bottom line, I guess the bottom line conclusion, if you will, is that the Honda Civic was lit on fire.
It was an intentionally set fire.
Not something that happens from the engine, right?
Correct.
And it's your conclusion that the intentionally set fire was a stuffed animal lit on fire and placed on the passenger side of the car. Do I have that right?
You do not have that right.
Okay, can you explain your conclusion?
So as I stated in my conclusion, it was the application of a open flame to ignitable liquid inside the passenger compartment. When ignitable liquid is used to start a fire or accelerate a fire, it's not pertinent for us to pinpoint exactly where that fire starts because, for example, if I poured gasoline throughout this room and lit it on fire after the fact, we wouldn't be able to distinguish where I actually put the open flame to the gasoline. Was it in the back corner or in the front corner? Because the damage is going to spread so quickly that the mass loss, the fire damage, isn't going to tell us where that poured gasoline, that poured ignitable liquid was first ignited. So my conclusion, if I believe my report is in front of you, is that it was an open flame ignition of a liquid, medium petroleum distillate inside the passenger compartment.
Something like gasoline.
Medium petroleum distillate was the lab report.
Right, and you said before on direct that could be gasoline. Use that as an example.
A petroleum distillate is not a medium, gasoline is not a medium petroleum distillate.
Lighter fluid would be a medium.
Correct.
What we use to light a grill, right?
That is accurate.
Okay, so your conclusion is that something like that was used, right?
Correct.
On a stuffed animal.
That included a stuffed animal.
Well, there was you made particular note of the stuffed animal, didn't you? That the stuffed animal had an overwhelming odor of the medium petroleum distillate, right?
That's correct.
Which tells you, based on your experience, that stuffed animal, you believe, was sprayed or doused with that liquid, right?
Right. I think where we're missing each other is I did not say, nor would I say that is the only location in the vehicle that had ignitable liquid doused or applied.
Right. The liquid could have been sprayed all over, as far as you know.
Correct.
Okay. Do you aware of any witnesses who saw someone spraying lighter fluid all over a vehicle?
No.
The only witness statement you're aware of is from a person who claims that a lit lighter was thrown into a driver's window from outside of a vehicle.
Correct.
And in fact, you found part of a Bic lighter on the back of the vehicle, right?
That's correct.
When you say Bic lighter, are you referring to the standard thing you would buy at a gas station? Is that what it looked like?
Correct.
The kind where a person would use to light a cigarette, right?
True.
You're, as a arson investigator or ATF employee, certainly you know that a Bic lighter, if a person lights it, the moment they let go of where their thumb would go, the moment they let go, the flame goes out, right?
Some lighters have a locking mechanism where you can lock the flame down.
Did this one have that?
I did not recover it, so I did not examine that.
So you don't know?
I don't.
And but you do know that the four windows were all likely open at least partially, right? At least partially open at the time of the fire, right?
Correct.
And that's based on the uniform fire mass loss, right? Or no, I'm sorry, that's based on the debris that you noticed in the windowsills, right?
Right, the window channel had significant glass still in it.
How far down were the windows at the time?
We weren't able to tell that. That's why I said at least partially down.
So it could be anywhere from just a tiniest little fraction down to fully?
No, we had more glass in the window channels than just a tiny bit.
Okay, so you're
I
looking.
can't quantify it for you.
Well, in the pictures we saw.
Mostly up there. There are two right here.
Well, if we take picture 61, exhibit 61, for example. Oh, thank you. If we take exhibit 61, for example, what does that show? Well, how do the windows look there?
The windows are gone.
What?
The windows are not evident in that picture.
They're gone, right?
Correct.
And so when you examine the vehicle, the windows themselves were already gone, right?
Like I said, I was able to see down into the window channels inside the door.
And why would windows be gone? Is that because the fire department personnel would knock them out?
Or the fire could have compromised them and they failed due to heat.
In other words, the fire could have cracked them.
But they were also down.
Now, the seat, in terms of the seat distance being back, before you were holding up a Kleenex box and moving it around in front of you, weren't you?
Correct.
As a demonstrative?
Correct.
Okay, so I want to understand the seat location in the vehicle. Is that something that you examined?
I did.
You look at how far back the seat is on the metal tracks, right?
We did in this case.
Okay, and in terms of where the seat, was the driver's seat all the way back as far as it can go?
We did not manipulate it to see if it was all the way back as far as it would go. We just made note of where it was at that time.
Okay,
At the
so,
time of the fire.
okay, so you didn't note how far back on the tracks it was itself?
No.
But it's your opinion that it wasn't moved by fire department personnel because why?
Again, if it had been moved, we would have had clean parts of the track. So if the seat is on a track,
Right.
everyone knows that. So if you move it after soot deposits, after a flame impinges upon it, it's going to then expose a clean part of the track. We didn't have that.
Well, did you have clean part? Right. Were there parts of the track that were clean and parts of it that had soot on it, or no?
There was I don't recall the exact visual of the tracks. We could tell that they had not moved, the seat had not moved from the time of the fire.
That's fine. Thank you, that's all.
If you had not had the witness statements, would your opinion about where the fire originated have changed?
No.
If you had not had witness statements, would your opinion about it being a result of an ignition of an ignitable liquid changed?
No.
Was the fire incendiary?
It was.
Meaning what?
It was an intentional act.
Nothing else.
No.
Thank you. Anybody need a break now? Oh, I see some hands. Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute afternoon break and then we'll be back with you. So just leave your notebooks on your chairs, please.
Okay, guys, let's see. Okay, oh, sorry. I've got my microphone on. Okay, I want to make sure I shout out Hip Hop Inquirer for dropping some love in my thing. I appreciate that so much, Dennis. Dennis is a G. Period. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, wait a second. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis says, at least we know how to tip when we act up. I love me some bougie gang. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis is a real one. I just want to put Roz in a 5-minute timeout. Um, do we even do that here? Do we even really do I scared you? Y'all, come on now. If it goes to time, if it goes to a break, just know to go adjust your I set up all my lives until Saturday because I'm just like, baby, setting up all these lives it's a job. Let me see. Okay, so what are we thinking? I'm sure break is already over. But let's see. Yes, tomorrow's this what live is this? First day trial. It's gonna go to I don't even know where I'm trying to send stuff. Let's see, day 3 to go to that tonight. Okay. That's tomorrow for tomorrow. Okay, so just so you guys know, anybody who's here members, I already set up a live for tomorrow night. We'll get caught up on Nesto tomorrow night. And I guess on the weekend we'll have to get caught up. I immediately turned my volume down. Look at Danny IRL, okay? Thank you, boo. Lunch was fun. If my stamina can stay up, I'll do a lunchtime live. Remember when we were doing Susan Lawrence last year, the lady who killed the lady AJ, the mommy, who tragically got killed in front of her kids with the crazy neighbor lady who was so fucking paranoid of the children she was antagonizing. We would do a lunchtime live then. We were busy in trial all day. We had a small little cute audience like we have right now. It was very cute, very small. Okay. And then we would do lunchtime. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing changed around here, okay? You know, everything we do is cute no matter what size it is, okay? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like sis needed to get her energy back. I didn't know, I hate to keep saying it, but baby, I'm not joking. That ailment that I had, it took me off my feet. I still am not 100% clear. I mean, I guess I know what they told me, but I don't know. Anywho, but I'm on a 3rd antibiotic, by the way. They gave it to me last week, and I just felt like, you know what? I cannot manage 3 antibiotics at the same time. I'm gonna just wait till I finish. So they gave me one for a week and one for a month, right? When I went to the doctor last week, I guess we're gonna have a little intermission personal talk. When I went last week for my doctor's appointment, she said it wasn't going away as fast as she thought it should. So she gave me another week to do of the one that was a week, right? On top of that, she gave me another antibiotic. So I'm finishing up the 2-week antibiotic. I'm halfway, this weekend, I'll be halfway through the 30-day. And then I'm starting a 2-week jump off as soon as I finish the other one, which I'll finish the other one tomorrow. Can you believe this shit? And the swelling has just gone down to the point where it feels back to where it did when I was like, there's something on the back of my head. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this bump happening? It was the size of a damn mango. It was giving oddity. Like I could have done an episode of one of those TV shows and they're like, what's going on with the back of your head, girl? A mess. I was nervous, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was very nervous. Anyway, I appreciate all of y'all's prayers and positivity and well wishes and emails, and sis who sent me a beautiful like an insulated cup I got in the mail yesterday. Very sweet. You guys are amazing. So I just wanted to take this time. I'll thank you guys again tonight. for holding me down. Okay. I just want to say thank you for holding me down um with some, with some good vibes because you know, I feel so much better. I can't even begin to tell you. Anyway, okay, so what are we thinking? I think they're getting through all of the technical items. And I mean, eventually they're going to get to, and this is what he did, and this is how he did it. I hope that they seized his computers. I hope that they can figure out above and beyond the conversation of them getting together to hook up for the night of the first date. I want to, I'm hoping that we're going to hear more of the story of, them actually linking up type thing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, okay, let's get back into it, guys. They're back from break. We're going to reclaim some more of our time cuz that's what we do. Let's get back into it and let's finish this up because this judge I like because guess what? They finish on time and she sticks to a schedule and then she lets the jury have a nice long lunch. I'm feeling this Wisconsin situation, okay? What's going on with Fran? I've been in and out of the I'm just thanking you guys for sending me all kinds of positivity so I could get better. I really feel like, all of that positivity helped me out. Yeah, I feel like they're getting through all of the I want to know, I mean, outside of all of this technical information, I think there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that all leads to Maxwell, but I want to hear the narrative of outside of he was the last person that saw her. Tell us what the fuck was in his house. Tell us about the dungeon, the sex dungeon dungeon. Tell us about the women who said that he was scary. Tell us about we want to hear about Maxwell and the shenanigans of what's going to make this jury know that they need to go ahead and convict this guy of this horrible heinous crime. Do you know if the family and people sitting on so his father yesterday, his father and I think his mother were sitting over there. I don't know if they're together, like they might be divorced, but yeah, his parents are sitting behind his lawyer, and you can see Sade's mom, her little sister, and what looked like grandma this morning. I don't know if they're still there or not. Um, all right, let's get it back started. Right, yeah, I want to can you I know I'm rushing things and they still have some more time. They're still putting on their case, but I would imagine we're going to be able to oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like more. Tell us about what's in his computer. Did he have weird shit? Bring an ex-girlfriend who said you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, give us yes. We need to hear yeah. You know what I mean? That's what we want to know. We don't let me just stop this and nip this in the bud right now. Um we don't do all that over here. Um no man, no. Hold on a second. Please don't bring that type of nonsense to my channel, okay? V Lenore is a sis and is valued, respected, and all of the things. And don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Okay? Take that elsewhere. Okay? That's one of my good goods and we don't do that over here. Okay? All right. Bye-bye. Okay? All right. If you got something to say to V Lenore, why don't you take it over to V Lenore's channel and see how that
Okay, we're
goes?
back on the record, same
Why
appearance.
don't you go run that over to V so she can properly cuss you out? Because that ain't got nothing to do with me, but you're not going to drop a pile of shit in my live. Okay. Why don't you take that right on over to her and see how she's going to deal with you over there. Okay. Don't play over here. Go play over at her live and see how that goes. Okay.
We're still on the
Okay.
state's case in chief, and I believe they're about to call their 24th witness.
State calls analyst Megan McMahon.
You know, V will cuss you right on out. Okay. That's one of my YouTube sisses. She is very well respected, and everybody does what they do. Okay, don't play with us.
I do. You could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Megan McMahon. My first name is Meghann. My last name is Mcmahon.
How are you employed?
I'm employed as a trace evidence analyst at the State Crime Lab in Milwaukee.
What does that mean?
So trace evidence encompasses a variety of types of evidence submitted. It can include the analysis of glass, fibers, paint, general unknowns, and in this case, I analyzed evidence submitted for fire debris as well as physical fit.
What is physical fit?
Physical fit is the analysis of items that are broken to determine if they could fit together to form one contiguous piece.
Can you describe what your training, experience, and education is that allows you to work in this capacity?
So I have a Bachelor's of Science in Spanish from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I have a Master's of Science in Forensic Science from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. In addition to my education at the laboratory, I completed an in-house training program for both fire debris and physical fit. In general, those training programs encompass readings, lectures, hands-on exercises, and culminate in what is called a competency test, which is essentially a mock case.
How long have you worked in your capacity at the crime lab?
I've been at the lab in Milwaukee since 2015.
In your capacity at the crime lab, when you analyze something, you document it through a report, correct?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked exhibit number 438. Can you identify what that is?
Exhibit 438 is a copy of the laboratory report that I issued on May 16th, 2024 for laboratory case R24-952.
I'd ask that exhibit 438 be received.
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
And what does that report document?
So this report is a report of my analysis for item BD that was submitted to the laboratory for fire debris analysis.
What was item BD?
Item BD was one sealed paper bag that contained one gallon can that had burned debris in it that was reportedly recovered from a vehicle.
The number or lettering system BD, is that how your lab keeps track of things?
Yes, when evidence is submitted to the laboratory, it's given a laboratory item designator. So we start at A and continue on until all the evidence for a case has been submitted.
Handing you what's been previously received as exhibit number 52. What is that?
So exhibit 52 is laboratory item BD for case R24-952, and I can tell that by this yellow sticker that's on the bag.
So exhibit number 52 is the item that you analyzed and subsequently documented that analysis in report with the exhibit 438 sticker on it.
That is correct.
Okay. Can you describe what you did upon receiving item BD or exhibit 52?
Yes, so I first would open up the bag, open up the can, do a visual exam of what's inside of the can. In this case, I couldn't determine what was inside the can, so I called it burn debris. After that, I take a charcoal strip and I suspend it inside of the can, put the lid back on the can, and then I put the can in an oven. So what happens when the can is in the oven is anything that's volatile or will go into like a gaseous state, we'll do that and it will adhere into that strip that I suspended inside of the can. The cans stay in the oven overnight for approximately 16 hours. After the 16 hours is up, I take the can out of the oven, I take the strip out of the can, and I put the strip into a small vial. Into that vial, I add a little bit of solvent or liquid. What happens is anything that was stuck onto that strip that was in the can will then dissolve into that liquid. I then take the liquid and I analyze it on an instrument called a gas chromatograph mass spectrometer. And the data that I get from the sample that was analyzed on, or I analyzed on the instrument, I compare to a reference that was also run on the instrument under the same conditions in order to come to a conclusion if an ignitable liquid is present or not. So in this case, I was able to conclude that a medium petroleum distillate was present in item BD.
What is a petroleum distillate?
So petroleum distillate is one class of ignitable liquids. Ignitable liquids are classified rather than identified because there can be, because manufacturers market the ignitable liquids to their end use. For example, medium petroleum distillate could be the same liquid, but it's marketed as a paint thinner or as a charcoal lighter fluid. So for ignitable liquid analysis, we classify them as opposed to identify them.
Are there other classifications of petroleum distillates?
There are light, medium, and heavy petroleum distillates.
What are some examples of a light petroleum distillate?
Light petroleum distillate could be charcoal lighter fluid. It could be like a lighter fluid that you would use to light a cigarette. Compounds that are smaller than what would be a medium petroleum distillate.
What's a heavy petroleum distillate?
So a heavy petroleum distillate, something like that would be diesel fuel or kerosene.
What about regular gasoline?
Gasoline is its own classification.
And is it just gas or gasoline as its own classification, or is there a title for it? It's not.
It's gasoline.
Okay. Items like paint thinner and lighter fluid have smells to them typically in your experience?
I would say that petroleum distillates have a smell. I don't know what, in general, when I receive liquid as an item of evidence, I don't know where it's coming from. So I couldn't tell you if it was a paint thinner or a charcoal lighter fluid, but it does have a smell.
Did you note any odor from item exhibit number 52, item number BD?
Because it was debris, I did not smell it.
Petroleum distillates, including medium petroleum distillates, are ignitable liquids, correct?
Yes.
And what would ignite a liquid such as a medium petroleum distillate?
A flame.
Okay, a flame from anywhere?
Yes.
Okay, so a flame from a match.
Match, a lighter.
Okay, in addition to doing the ignitable liquid analysis, what else did you do as it relates to this case?
I also received broken pieces with the request to determine if a physical fit was present between these pieces and a vehicle that was submitted.
What was the vehicle that was submitted?
I'd have to refer to my report.
You drafted a report?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked exhibit 437. What is this?
Thank you. Exhibit 437 is a copy of the laboratory report that I authored on May 10th, 2024 for case R24952.
Does that document what vehicle you received?
Yes, I received a Honda Civic, Wisconsin license plate ASP-1171.
And does that actually physically come to you at the lab?
Yes.
Who did you receive that from? What agency?
It would have been received by our evidence technician, so I'm not sure what agency submitted it.
Does the vehicle itself receive an item number?
Yes.
What item number was the Honda Civic?
The vehicle was item BQ.
What else did you receive?
So I received items BR through BV, through BV, and those were all broken pieces that were submitted.
I'd ask that exhibit 437 be received.
Any objection?
No.
437 is received.
Showing you what have already been received into evidence. I'll show you first exhibit 28, 29, and 30, if you can identify what those are, if you've seen them before.
So exhibit 28 is item BR for case R24952. And again, it has the yellow label that's put on at the laboratory.
And what is item BR?
Item BR was a broken mirror that was submitted. Exhibit 29 is item BS for laboratory case R24952. And item BS was a piece of broken black plastic. And then exhibit 30 was received as laboratory item BT for case R24952. There were 5 pieces of broken black plastic that are inside here. So when I did my analysis, I sub-designated them as items BT1 through BT5.
And what about exhibits 31 and 32?
So exhibit 31 is laboratory item BU for case R24952. And this is a piece of broken black and silver plastic. And then exhibit 32 is item BV for case R24952. This had 8 pieces of broken plastic inside. So during my analysis, I sub-designated them BV1 through BV8.
Why don't you start with item BR and walk us through what your analysis entailed?
So in general, with my analysis, what I'm first going to do is open up the broken pieces that were submitted, and I'm going to do a visual exam and a microscopic exam of those pieces and document what I observe. Then, if there are any of those pieces that look like they would fit together to each other, I would do that physical fit at that time. After I'm done with all of that, then I took all of the pieces and I went to the vehicle, which is in a different part of the laboratory, and I attempted to do a physical fit from the pieces to the vehicle. So there were 3 pieces that I was able to physically fit back to the vehicle.
And just as a preliminary question, to physically fit something together, does an item have to be broken?
Yes.
So if a piece of a car falls off but isn't broken, can you conclusively say that it comes from that car?
No. So in general, that conclusion might be something like detached but not broken from the vehicle. There might not be anything broken for a physical fit analysis to be attempted.
So it's fair to say that you're looking at how an item fragments when it's broken?
I'm comparing broken pieces to broken areas on the vehicle.
Okay, you said that there were 3 items that you were able to fit.
Yes.
What were those?
So I was able to fit item BT3, which was broken black plastic to the vehicle, the front grille area. I was able to fit item BS, which was a broken piece of the license plate holder to the license plate holder that was on the vehicle. And then item BU, which was broken black and silver plastic to the passenger side fog light area on the vehicle.
What about the other items?
So items BV3 through BV8, so submitted broken pieces, I was able to fit back together to each other, but that piece, there was nothing broken on the vehicle for me to attempt a physical fit for that. The same thing with item BV1 and BV2. There wasn't anything broken on the vehicle for me to attempt a physical fit. And then items BR, BT1 and 2, 4 and 5, there was no physical fit attempted. So the vehicle was damaged, it was burned. So for safety reasons, we didn't want to put it up on a lift. And the pieces that were not attempted appear to be interior pieces. So there was no more analysis done.
BV3 through BV8 are described as pieces of black glossy plastic, correct?
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but your findings were that all of those pieces fit together, correct?
Yes.
On the Honda Civic, item BQ, was there a part that was missing in the area where those items BV3 and BV8 would have fit?
So I was able to use that conclusion, detached but not broken, for the one contiguous piece that BV3 through BV8 formed. But again, there wasn't anything broken on the vehicle for me to do a physical fit for that.
Was there an area of the Honda Civic that was missing a piece consistent with what you put together for BV3 through BV8?
There wasn't anything there, but again, it wasn't, there wasn't anything broken on the vehicle.
Okay.
So it appeared as though, again, that piece fit in there, but I'm not able to do any more analysis in the sense of I can't say there's a physical fit because there was nothing broken for me to try to attempt to do a physical fit on.
And so that's where you come to the conclusion that it appeared to be detached.
Yes.
What about items B1 and BB2 that you described? Did you come to the conclusion that those items, when put together, appeared to have been detached from the Honda Civic?
Yes, it would be the same conclusion. BV1 and BV2 both appeared detached but not broken from the vehicle.
And again, that the area where BV1 and BV2 appeared to have been detached, there was the Honda Civic missing that particular piece?
The piece wasn't there, but I couldn't make a conclusion as far as if BV1 and BV2 were the pieces that belonged to the vehicle.
But the Honda Civic was missing that particular piece?
The pieces were not there, yes.
I don't have anything further. Cross?
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So one part of your, I guess your role in this investigation was to test some burn materials, correct?
Yes,
And did they arrive to you in like the big gallon bucket or 5-gallon bucket?
they arrived in a gallon can that was in this paper bag.
Okay, and when you're doing your testing, you're doing it at your lab, correct?
Yes,
And you said you didn't like smell the odor of the fragments or the burned materials, correct? Because you do like some sort of testing and you're able to determine that there's a petroleum distillate, correct?
in general, the only items that would be smelled would be liquids that are submitted. So because this was burned debris, I did not smell it.
But you have like instruments that tell you that it's petroleum distillate, correct?
Yes, the gas chromatograph mass spectrometer.
And can that determine whether something has like, I think they said a light, a medium?
Yes,
Okay. And you were able to come to the conclusion that, you know, this burn material it was ignited by like lighter fluid or paint thinner. Those are contained in petroleum distillate, correct?
I was able to conclude that a medium petroleum distillate is present. There are lighter fluids and paint thinners that would be classified as a medium petroleum distillate, but there also are paint thinners and lighter fluids that might not be, which is why it's just a medium petroleum distillate.
Those are just common examples, right?
Yes,
And like lighter fluid and painter fluid, those are things people can purchase at like a hardware store, correct?
I would imagine so, yes.
Like a Home Depot, a Lowe's, an Ace Hardware, something like that.
I would think so, yes.
And then the other part of your investigation was to kind of, I mean, I'm just speaking in layman's terms here, is you get pieces of what might belong to a car and you determine if you can draw that conclusion, if these pieces came from that car.
The pieces have to be broken in order to do the physical fit analysis. So what I'm determining is if the broken pieces would fit to a broken area on the vehicle.
And your conclusion was that these broken pieces belong to this Honda Civic, correct?
3 of the pieces physically fit back to the vehicle.
All right, I have nothing further.
State? Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you.
They would then recall Detective Donner.
The next spot's empty.
I'm sorry.
The next spot's empty. Oh. We have a different court reporter, so we're gonna re-swear you.
Oh, sure.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can please be seated, restate and respell your name for the record.
Detective Joanne Donner, JoannDonner.
Detective Donner, as part of your follow-up investigation into this case, on October 1st of 2024, did you conduct an experiment related to the seat positions as they were known to have been found in Sade Robinson's Honda Civic?
I did.
Did that involve you going out to some car dealership in Milwaukee County?
It actually was in Waukesha County, Menominee Falls.
Okay. And tell us what the purpose of that experiment was.
I volunteered one of my detectives who is 6'1", which is based on the same DOT height for Maxwell Anderson, and another deputy who is 5'1", which is actually 1 inch taller than Sade Robinson's DOT. I couldn't find anybody that was 5 foot, so she would have to do. What I did was then go out to the dealership and found a 2020 Honda Civic, same model and make of her car, same year, and positioned the seat according to those that you saw in the arson photos. Then I was able to place Deputy Balsamo into the seat to see if that was a comfortable position for her to drive in, or if it would work better for Detective Blanchard.
In going to the dealership or dealerships, if you will, at some point were you able to determine what the value of a 2020 Honda Civic is?
Yes, the average value is approximately $20,000.
All right, so you took a deputy who was 5'1" and a deputy who was 6'1",
Correct.
and did you take pictures of this experiment?
I did.
I'm gonna show you exhibits 90 through 108.
Tell me the numbers one more time.
90 through 108.
Thank you.
Are those the photos from the experiment?
They are.
Okay. Move 90 through 108 in.
Any objection?
No.
Received.
Asked to publish, not all of them, but a few.
Go ahead.
Detective Donner, what was the seat position at of Sade Robinson's Honda Civic?
I had to base the measurements in the photos from the arson, just based on what the curvature of, if it had cushioning and foam. So I used the frame of the lumbar support that seemed to be the most accurate. That position for the back would be 42 inches, and for the front edge of the seat would be 22 inches.
Okay, so did you position the seat of the Honda Civic you used for this experiment to that same position?
I did, with the exception of the back. It is the manual style, and I couldn't lock it in at 42 inches, and I could only lock it in at 43. So it was 1 inch farther back on the back of the seat.
All right, and then did you have both deputies sit in that seat?
I did.
For starters, these are the two people you used, right?
That's correct.
The one on the right actually testified in this trial.
Correct.
Okay. And then can you show me the picture of the, you pick out the picture of each of them sitting in the seat when it was at the distance of Sade's car, when Sade's car was recovered.
I took several photos showing the arm extension and also the feet towards the foot pedals.
I'm going to show on the TV 94 and 95. When you had the 5'1" deputy sit in the chair, were her feet able to touch the pedals?
No, they were not.
And her arms, exhibit 95, fully outstretched?
Fully outstretched, elbows locked.
When Detective Blanchard on the right here sat in that seat, how did that go?
Much better.
97, feet reached the pedals comfortably
Yes, they did.
and sat in the chair comfortably.
Correct.
Looks relaxed.
Yes.
Did you then have, what was her name again?
Balsamo.
Can you spell it for the record?
I sure can. It's Balsamo.
Did you have Deputy Balsamo adjust the seat to a position where she felt comfortable?
I did.
And did you have Detective Blanchard sit in that seat?
I did.
Can you show us what that looked like? Here's exhibit 102. Scrunched up to the front.
Yes.
Attorney Vance-Curzan, can you use the mic, please?
Sorry, Judge.
That's okay.
All right, and head not comfortable.
It was actually touching the ceiling. He could not put it back any farther. He had to be hunched over forward to fit.
Nothing else.
Cross?
So if I understand correctly, all you did was test the seat for, well, first of all, the car itself was burned away. The seats were burned away, right?
Correct.
The cushioning was gone.
Correct.
And so you're using the metal that would have been behind the cushioning for the measurement. Do I have that correct?
Along the sides, you can see there's a part of the lumbar that curves. That's what I was using to base my measurement, and then feeling through the the vehicle that we used for the experiment.
Got it. And it was a manual seat.
It was.
Is that the same as Sade's car?
I do not know because her car was so badly damaged on the inside.
Okay, so we don't know if it was manual or automatic.
Correct.
But as I understand it, you used only 2 people for this experiment, if you will.
Yes,
A person who's 5'1" and a person who is 6'1".
correct.
And anybody in between?
No, I did not.
Didn't test any other sizes, 5'7", 5'6", to see how comfortable those people would be?
No,
Okay, different people sit with their seats at different comfort levels, obviously.
correct.
You're not offering this as any sort of science, are you?
No,
That's all.
State?
No, nothing else.
Thank you, Detective.
thank you.
State?
State calls Detective Casey Donahue.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Would you please be seated, state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Casey Donahue, Casey Donahue.
How are you employed?
I'm a detective with the City of Milwaukee Police Department.
Are you assigned to the City of Milwaukee Police Department's homicide unit?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been a detective with the city?
I've been a detective for over 4 years, and I've been with the Homicide Division since June of 2022.
Did you assist in the investigation related to a missing person named Sade Robinson?
Yes, I did.
And when your department, the Milwaukee Police Department, became involved in the investigation, had you come to learn that her car was set on fire near the intersection of 30th and Lisbon?
Yes, I was.
And I have Exhibit 190 on the TV screen. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Do you need a second to orient what the map's showing?
Yes, I'm familiar with that area.
Okay, we got Lisbon Avenue right here at the top, right?
Yes,
Okay, and then 30th Street, where my pen is here?
yes, that is correct.
All right. The vehicle fire that we're talking about, were you aware that it occurred right where my pen's pointing now?
Yes, it was behind 2928 West Lisbon.
This entire map depicts a location within the city and county of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right?
It is, yes.
Was one of the things that you were tasked with doing, trying to locate video from the area where Sade Robinson's car was set on fire?
Yes, I was.
Did you locate video from the address of 2900 West Lisbon Avenue?
Yes, I did.
What is 2900 West Lisbon Avenue?
2900 West Lisbon Avenue is a liquor store that is in the area.
Is it on this map?
It is, yes.
Would you be able to stand up and point out where that building is?
Yes. The liquor store is located right here.
All right. So basically at the other corner from where the car was burned.
It would have been just to the east from where the car was burned. Car would have been burned in the rear of this location right here, which the building is actually no longer there.
At the time you recovered video, the building was there?
Yes, it was.
I'm going to bring up on the screen in a moment here Exhibit 192. Were you able to recover video footage from multiple cameras that was of interest to this investigation?
Yes, we did.
What were those? Can you, using the map, please tell us generally what those cameras were and where they were facing?
Yes.
Can you bring the mic closer to you as well? Thank you, Detective.
So from the liquor store, one of the cameras that we recovered video from would have been pointing in a western direction down the sidewalk area and was affixed to the south part of this building. The second camera view that we had would have been actually on top of the roof of the liquor store, and it was pointed in a northern direction.
Basically pointed off the map here.
Yes.
You can have a seat, thank you. This video, did it have audio?
It did, yes.
All right, Detective, I have on screen, I believe it was the first camera angle you described. So we're looking up at the date and timestamp here in the upper left-hand corner. It says February 4, 2024, 06:48:37, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And did you, when you were covering this video, ascertain whether or not the date and timestamp on this video was accurate?
Yes, it was in fact accurate.
The street,
I'm sorry, before we go any further, there's a brief matter, I think, could we just be heard at sidebar real quick?
Sure.
And what exhibit is this?
192.
Thank you. State, please proceed.
Thank you. The purpose of reviewing this video is to see if you could find anything about how Miss Robinson's car was set on fire.
Yes, and if I could just clarify one thing quick.
Sure.
So if you notice the date in the top left-hand corner, it is going to appear in what I consider like European date. So it's going to have the day, then the month, and then the year.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm going to advance the first video I have up, and for the record, the video title is extremely long. It starts with D2 and ends in 1900, and it's on the disc that's marked Exhibit 194. Sorry, 192.
Okay. You had originally indicated 192.
Yes, it is 192.
Okay.
All right. I'm advancing that video to 1:47. One of the things you were also looking for was to see if you could see her car driving.
Yes,
And did you in fact find instances in this camera footage of her Honda Civic driving around?
yes.
I have the video queued up to 1:47. The date and timestamp is what, Detective?
If I could just, The date and time is going to be April 2nd, 2024 at 6:50 a.m. and 29 seconds.
What do you see?
If you notice towards the top of the screen, you're gonna see a vehicle that appears to be Sade Robinson's vehicle.
Paused at 2:15. I'm going to switch back real briefly to the map. What we just watched was that vehicle, which appeared consistent with a Honda Civic, right?
Yes,
It traveled northbound on 30th Street through the intersection right here of Lisbon, correct?
yes, that is correct.
That's what we just watched.
Yes,
And in a little bit, if we get there today, did you also recover a video coming from where that car came from?
yes.
And where's that video on this map?
That video is gonna be from the H-Bar Cylinder Services, and that's located at 1651 North 30th Street.
All right, so the video that you got from here actually would precede what we just watched, and it shows that car going up 30th, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Is that how you knew that car was the same one?
Yes, and also there's identifiable features on the car, more specifically damage, that we were able to determine that that was in fact Sade Robinson's vehicle.
And related to all of this, where is the 31st and Galena playground?
That is gonna be located right here, approximately 1650 North 31st Street. That's gonna be between the streets of Walnut, and then to the south is going to be Galena.
Going back to the video. I'm going to advance this clip to the 11-minute 58-second mark. The timestamp, we've gone up to 7:01:16 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes,
I'm going to play until 12:14. Oh, turn the volume off, sorry. See the vehicle again?
yes, I do.
Where's it going?
That vehicle is traveling southbound on North 30th Street from Lisbon.
I'm going to shift to the next video. The title starts with D2 again, and the last four digits are 3935 for the record. This video picks up at 7:19 a.m., is that right? We're at the beginning? Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
I'm going to advance to 3 minutes and 44 seconds. 7:22:58 a.m.
Yes,
Playing from that time until 4:12. And in the upper right, you see the vehicle pull off of 31st Street.
yes.
And now what's it doing, if you could point it out?
It's turning northbound onto North 30th Street from Lisbon.
Paused at 4:14. So that timestamp is 7:23:31?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Gonna pull up clip D15, last four digits ending in 3307. Different camera, correct?
Yes, this is going to be the camera I was referring to on top of the roof. So this is going to be pointed in a northern direction. It does capture what is an L-shaped alley behind the address where the vehicle fire was located.
All right, so off to the left side of this screen is where that alley entrance would be, and you're telling me you can't get out onto this street that's on the right?
Not from there. This portion of the alley goes east to west and then turns to the north-south.
Point
So
out.
it's shaped as an L, which you can see would be like this. So the alley comes here, and you have to turn to go north.
I'm going to advance this video to 3 minutes and 3 seconds. The timestamp on this clip is actually in the lower right. And what time do we have?
This is going to be 7:23 and 34 seconds.
What are we going to be looking for here, Detective?
So you'll notice Sade's vehicle will pull up right down here and then conducts something like a Y-turn to go back in the other direction.
That other direction being where it would eventually be lit on fire.
That is correct, yes.
I'm going to zoom in just to the left side of the video. And I'm going to play until 4:24.
This is going to be the vehicle right here. As you can see, there's damage to the passenger side mirror. Hanging off.
Okay, hanging low,
Yes, it's like
playing it again at 3:35.
almost like it's dangling, just attached by wire.
Paused it at 4 minutes, 20 seconds. And if I get out of the zoom here, you can see this is at 7:24:51 a.m., correct, Detective?
Yes, that is correct.
And the vehicle kind of, once it does that turn, very slowly kind of creeps forward. Is that fair?
Yes, and it goes out of camera view.
I'm going to go back to D2 ending in 3935 and cue the video up to 9 minutes and 49 seconds. Nine minutes, 40 seconds, sorry. So we're back to the original camera angle looking down Lisbon. This would be just a few minutes after that vehicle pulled off of the last camera frame, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Playing at 9:40. Paused at 9:56. Did two individuals just enter the frame from the bottom?
Yes, these two right here.
Okay, one of them has a LeBron James jacket on, correct?
Yes,
And the other holding a large umbrella.
yes, that is correct.
Are you going to see them do anything in the upcoming clip?
Yes, when they get to approximately right here on the sidewalk, you will see them react to something that's happening over here. And at that same time, you're going to see a subject wearing dark clothing with a tan camouflage backpack. He's going to then cross the street as a city bus is passing him.
Heading south, the person with the backpack?
The person in the backpack is crossing in a southwest direction, and the bus is traveling westbound.
I'm going to play until 11:51.
the subject crossing, is the bus going by. As you can see, this person has stopped and begins to back up. And you see the other subject up here begins to run backwards, or run back from where she came from. She then points in the direction of from where, or the subject walking from behind the building. Says, call the police, call an ambulance.
Paused at 11:51. I want to go back to the point in the video. The audio doesn't seem to align up to the second with the video. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, that's fair to say.
But you can hear the words she is yelling, at least when you listen to this?
Yes, you can hear her say.
I'm going to object to him testifying to what another witness said.
I'm asking him what he hears. And he's already testified to some of it.
I think he's able to provide his opinion as to what it is, but the jurors should pay close attention to what they hear.
I'm going to play it again from 10:40. And actually, I'm going to go back even before that. All right, I have it at 10:30. That subject who walked out from the right side, just to be very clear, right around the corner of this building up here, that's where her car was set on fire, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And between the building that this camera is on and the building on the opposite corner, there's just a vacant field there.
Yes, so there's this vacant field, and then there's two buildings prior to the corner.
The car is behind the two buildings at the corner, right?
It is, it's behind the building further east.
So from the location where these two women stop, would they have had a clear vantage point of where the car was?
Yes, you can see right through to the, it's like a rear parking slab behind this building.
The subject who walks out from there, he crosses Lisbon, correct?
Yes,
What street does he go down?
he then
I'm going to
goes,
object to the gender being used at this point.
I think, what,
I'm going to sustain the objection, ask you to rephrase your question.
thank you. The subject who walks out from the side there, what direction does that subject go?
the subject goes southbound on North 30th Street.
And going back to that other camera we're talking about, down 30th Street that you also recovered that we'll watch, are you able to pick up that subject when he gets to the intersection of 30th and Walnut?
Yes, so 1651 North 30th Street is going to be on the southwest corner of Walnut and North 30th Street.
All right, back to this video. I'm going to pick it up from 10:10.
Is there a way to turn it up at all?
I'm sorry?
Can you turn it up
Up?
louder?
I can.
Who did that? He did that. Bravo! Let's cover, it's slow! Somebody to call the ambulance! Hey! Hey! Call the fire department! Hey! Call the fire department! Call the fire department!
Pause at 11:39. What did you hear her yelling after that? After after you heard he did that.
Then she's saying to call the police, call the ambulance.
And where does she point?
She points in the direction where the subject walks off to, and she's pointing to where the vehicle fire was located. Or in a westbound direction.
All right, and then I actually have one other clip here to play. So the time where she's yelling, that's about 7:31:33, right? Up at the top left here. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
7:31 and 33 seconds.
All right, I'm going to advance the video to 7:35:34 and play from there. Pause at 15 minutes, 30 seconds. So by 7:35, the Milwaukee Fire Department is arriving on scene.
Yes, that is correct.
Now I'm going to show you what's marked as Exhibit 193. While that's loading, I've got the map up here. And just to be very clear, the subject who walked across Lisbon Avenue would have came out on this side of the building, right?
Yes.
All right, and then he walks across Lisbon and heads down 30th Street here. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that is correct.
And does the video you got from this business or whatever this is pick up that same person walking?
Yes, it does.
Where does that person walk from and towards that we're about to see?
The person is on the east sidewalk of North 30th Street, and then he'll cross North 30th Street westbound on the north sidewalk.
On Walnut.
Correct.
I have to load up the player, so just give me 1 minute here.
And this will be 193.
Yes. All right. All right, first camera angle we're going to look at.
So this camera angle is pointed in a west-northwest direction, and it's going to capture West Walnut And this is gonna be the north sidewalk of West Walnut.
Okay. What, and the date and time stamp up here on the upper right corner, April 2nd, 2024, 6:50 a.m.
Yes, that is correct.
Was that determined to be an accurate date and time stamp for this video?
Yes, it was. I believe it may have been 30 seconds off, but it was approximately the correct time.
All right, and I'm playing it from 6:50, I think it was 05.
Bless you.
So that's Walnut Street right there,
That is correct, yeah.
and there's a vehicle coming.
Yes, as you can see, that's gonna be Sade Robinson's Honda Civic, and we know that because of the damaged mirror that's hanging off of the vehicle.
That I'm circling with my mouse right here?
Yes,
All right, so 6:50 a.m., the car is appearing, and this is what? What is this area over here? Is that the playground?
no, so this area is gonna be like a wooded area. It then goes down to a set of train tracks that cuts through the city. And this right here is gonna be a bridge that goes over the train tracks. And then the playground is located directly on the other side of that, just to the south.
That playground in that area, would you later be involved in recovering human remains from there?
Yes, I was.
Playing from 6:50:26. And it's off camera by 6:50:29. I'm gonna bring up channel 2. Me. Sorry, let me just, I have to reload this up. All right, I'm gonna bring channel 2 forward to that same time period, 6:50. Where does this camera pick up as to where the other one left off?
So the other one was pointed in a more western direction. This covers more of a panorama view and shows north and west. So this is gonna be the intersection of North 30th Street and West Walnut. And this is the bridge that I was referring to, that the train tracks go underneath.
The car we watched in the last clip that was coming eastbound, is it gonna then appear on this camera?
Yes, it will.
Playing at 6:50:18. All right, you see the car there?
Yes,
And the window is rolling up,
yes.
okay? Able to see anybody in the passenger seat?
No, and it appears that there is a heavy amount of condensation on the windows.
Continuing from 6:50:37. The vehicle makes a northbound turn onto 30th Street, correct?
Yes, it does.
And then that's where we later pick it up on the liquor store video, the one we watched before this. Fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. All right, same camera. We've now advanced to 7:30 a.m. And from the Lisbon Avenue camera that we watched previously, what do we know happened around 7:30 a.m.?
7:30 a.m. is where you see the subject that is coming from the vacant field area and crossing Lisbon towards North 30th Street and continuing to walk southbound.
Do you pick him up on this camera?
Yes, you'll see him. He's going to be walking southbound on the east sidewalk.
Playing. I'm going to advance the video to 7:31:43. All right, so that's not the same subject that I'm circling with my mouse here, correct?
No, that is not.
Okay. How about over here?
Yes, this is going to be the subject that crossed Lisbon. As you can see, he's carrying a very large backpack.
What race does he appear to be?
He appears to be a white male. You can also notice the soles of the shoes appear to be white, like a bright white sole or a lighter colored than.
All right, I have it paused at 7:32:33 a.m. Just going to zoom in on him. The soles, you're talking about the shoes down here, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Dark pants?
Yes.
How about the top?
It appears to be a dark hooded sweatshirt or zip-up jacket.
And large backpack?
Yes.
And are you able to catch glimpses of his face there?
Yes. He appears to be a white male, and also with the backpack appears to be a large military-style rucksack.
Pause that video at 7:32:53 a.m. I'm going to go back to the other channel. And cue that video up to 7:33:22. What are we going to see here? Where does this pick up from where the last video leaves off?
So this is going to be further west down West Walnut, and it will take us further down the sidewalk area.
I'm going to play from 7:33:22 a.m.
As you can see, with the same shoes, pants, continuing to walk westbound on the sidewalk.
Until he's out of frame.
Yes, that is correct.
Judge, this might be a good stopping point.
I agree with you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, now it's even more important, my admonitions, right? So remember, no talking with anyone tonight, no looking at the media or researching anything, no investigation. Don't talk with each other as you leave, wear your juror badges prominently. We are going to kick up tomorrow morning, Celeste? At 8:45. So we'll have you talk with the staff relative to that. Feel free to bring with you coffee, water, and soda. Please leave your notebooks on your chairs. Have a lovely night. Just put this out of your mind until you return tomorrow.
Judge, before the jury's excused, I don't know if I moved 193 in or
Or
190.
Or 192.
I would like to move both of those in.
Any objection to 192 and 193?
No.
They are received into evidence at this point. Okay, have a lovely evening. We'll see you back in the morning. Leave your notebooks on your chairs, please. It's supposed to be warm tomorrow, and I want to warn you, my courtroom, quite often, the regulation's not great, and it might be really hot in here tomorrow. So wear layers is a really good tip for you, okay? Oh, we've been lucky so far. We'll see. Have a lovely evening.
Okay, guys. What did you think about Sir is screwed. I wonder if they took his shoes. Hold on a second. Let's go back for a second. They got him walking down the street and then they saw him with the backpack? Sir.
Yes,
Okay. Able to see anybody in the passenger seat?
no, and it appears that there's a heavy amount of condensation on the window.
Continuing from
But they saw
650-37.
his shoes. Hold on. When they saw him walking down the street with the backpack, baby, sir. Excuse me, sir. Hold on a second. Let me find it. Oh. I just saw it. Hold on. Let me find it. I'm trying to find the document. He's on the camera every dang where, okay? Sir. Woohoo. Maxwell. Maxwell. Sir. Where's the damn report? Girl, I would jump over the bridge. You know what I mean? It's one of those, it's one of those, you see him, you trying to get on the elevator, be like, I'll take the next one. I'm good. Hi, baby. Farrah came in, looked up and down, and turned around and walked away. First of all, he looks like the kind, you know how some guys smell like they just worked out? Maxwell took us on a field. They had him all around town. And then the ladies who spotted him were like, hey, wait a second. What you doing? These ladies over here, hold on. The ladies who were like, wait a second, sir. You started a fire. Excuse me, sir. With nobody but you walking around on the streets. Hold on, let me move. Let me move the victim. Miss Sade. Okay. This is a whole mess. Okay, that's the detective. But the pieces from the car, the pieces from the car that were found in the area, you were in possession of the car. You were in the neighborhood. I'm sure they're going to bring some fingerprints, unless he used gloves. Who knows? But yeah, he was all over the place. Shouts out to Milwaukee. Milwaukee's like, look, not on our watch. You're not going to come with this mess over here. I guess they want to show someone who's like 5 feet, someone who's 11 feet. No, I'm just kidding. They're putting it together slowly but surely. This detective is not playing either. Guys, we will reconvene tomorrow. I need to run the opening statements back to see what kind of defense Theo came up with. He said, are you talking about his lawyer? Sir? You talking about Waldo? Hold on. Waldo? Baby, Waldo is having a time. He's having a time. He said that they are not contesting that they had a date, that they went out together, all of those things. I think he's trying to basically say once he got home, he was home. But that's a lie. We know now that that's a lie, right? Because if he were home, how are you how are you all around town and being spotted? Why are you on the city bus? Hold on a second, let me pull it up appropriately. Why are you taking the bus off of Lisbon Avenue? Okay. They said, if you didn't watch Monday, check out what we read this whole thing on Monday. Detectives then saturated the area and recovered a surveillance footage that would capture where the subject had a tan backpack and walked towards after setting Robinson's car on fire. Through the video canvas, detectives learned the subject with the tan backpack walked westbound towards north of 35th Street and then eventually got on a Milwaukee County Transit bus at 8:12 to head southbound to 35th Street, which is the direction of the defendant's home. The video from the MCTS bus captured the face of the subject as he boarded and remained on the bus, and through the footage, complainant has reviewed the defendant's booking photo related to his arrest. Complainant is able to identify that the subject who walked from the fire down the street, got on the bus, was filmed on the bus, and look who it was. We don't know how they didn't. Maybe he had trash bags, or maybe those were his gloves. Maybe that was the miss of them getting those gloves that they saw, and they did not. I don't know if they didn't capture those gloves. The depiction of the defendant's booking photo with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. They need to find that backpack. If they pull that backpack, all those little brown paper bags they have, if they go ahead and pull that backpack out, baby, he's probably going to fall out at that table. Okay. He's probably going to just go ahead and just melt right away. Him and Waldo. Okay. Him and Hugh Grant. Okay. He may have done some evil type Taylor Schabusiness stuff. You know, Taylor Schabusiness was draining, blood into buckets and stuff. She was doing some weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? He might be on some Taylor Schabusiness. He looks like Waldo, and his hair's even flopped to the side. Y'all, let me go ahead and go because I got to get my energy together because we got to finish up this business tonight. Hold on a second. We have to finish this business, okay? We have to finish up our lunch business tonight at 10 o'clock. So be there or be square. Am I rolling you guys over there? You guys go. Y'all, let me drop this link. Can y'all go over there and hit the notify me? I've had so many notifications today. I think I'm notificationed out. Can you guys go roll on in there? I don't know if it's rolling there. I think I have this set up to go to the live for tomorrow, maybe. Let me see. This is going for tomorrow's live. Maybe I should roll this over to tonight's live. Maybe that's what I should do. Okay. Let's just do that. I'm going to roll you guys over to tonight's live. Make sure you hit the notification button, please. The individual notify me. If a killer was a person, it would be girl Scooby-Doo. I think I'm going to make a rigatoni tonight. I'm going to try to make it real easy. I think I'm going to go make some sauce. And I'm going to make a 1-pot rigatoni. Once I get my sauce ready, I'm going to dump the noodles in there and be done. I need that notification. Yes, please. Okay. And I'm going to put everything on Patreon. So if you're following me on Patreon, get ready to be bothered because you're going to get a bunch of notifications in a little bit, and Instagram. Let me drop you guys my broadcast channel. You're hollering. Sometimes I try not, you know what I mean? Like, people always say, Fran, you're so funny without even trying. I don't even try to be funny, guys. I'm not even trying to crack a joke. Oh my God, this guy is so. How did this even come up? I just clicked on Instagram and this is what comes up. This clown. We're going to have to talk about that this weekend. Girl, sir. Hold on. Sir, can I recalibrate? Thank you. Girl, let me give myself a heart. Okay. Offset asks for spousal support. Offset is asking for spousal support from divorce drags on. I wonder, did they file in LA or did they file in damn Cali? I need to find out. All right, so Offset needs child support from Cardi B. Isn't that interesting? Okay, ain't that a blip? Okay. Let me see. This is what happens to me. This is what happens to me in Instagram. Who's that? Was this the guy that was heckling G?
How you doing? I'm good. So what happened? What you want to tell me?
All right, we're not gonna play with that.
I'm filming.
Not Latoya Chantel. Why? Okay, can you guys tell me why Carl Thomas's baby mom is in New York with the people? You know what? Is Sylvia hanging out with her? Remember, this was the guy that Sylvia was hanging out with the first day. Remember this guy right here?
Crazy on the food. Y'all know where we at.
Hold on.
I'm filming.
This guy in the red, this dude right here. Do you guys remember the first day that Sylvia was in New York? She was talking to some people. This guy was one of them. This is what's her damn name? What's her name? I don't know why is she supposed to be blogging all of a sudden? The one Carl Thomas's one night stand? Girl, she was out there in front. Look, she got Miss Janice. What's going on here? Girl, let me take a screenshot of Miss Janice so we can add that to our Miss Janice collection. Y'all, let me go. That's Big Mustard. Yes. That's Big Mustard. She's out there on the front line. She got that good shot of Janice. Okay. Shopping from the Mary J. Blige wig collection. Okay. Miss Janice better come out with her own blonde wigs if she knows what I know. Girl. Miss Janice looks like she get ready to go handle something at the hotel. Let me stop, y'all. Let me stop playing with y'all. Okay. I'm saying just about anything now. I've been live literally all day. Y'all, I'm gonna let y'all go. I will see you later on this evening. let me go handle this business, and I will see you guys at 10 o'clock so we can finish up our Nesto business. Girl, why is she? Hold on a second. Oh my God. Look what her thing says. She's never going to find a man with this type of attitude that she has. Finally hit the stage after 2 years of not performing. Y'all think I should go back to Southern Soul or R&B? Nobody cares. Ew. I don't know where she got those wigs from, but she needs to stop. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Y'all. Okay. You guys have a wonderful evening. We will be back with Maxwell tomorrow. We're going to figure out this whole crime. Milwaukee, I feel good about the evidence that they're providing. I think it's going well so far. Whoever wants to go back to opening statements, we have it posted yesterday, so go check it out on my channel. And then also if you go check out, was it Tuesday's coverage date? Opening statements? No, it wasn't open statements. Which one was it? Y'all, I'm like forgetting. You know what? Whoever said they wanted to go back and watch opening statements, I did a whole entire Maxwell Anderson playlist. Okay. Go to the playlist, start from the beginning. And we read the affidavit. Then the next video will be the opening statements, which was yesterday. Okay. You guys have a good rest of the evening, and I'll see you guys on the later this evening at 10 o'clock. Okay. Bye, guys. Take care.